Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on Storm Talk. This is Way 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. As we hit through the next few days, perhaps a few more thunderstorms to track on the radar. As of late, we haven't had anything really to track other than the heat. And of course, the air quality alert continues today for the Louisville Metro until midnight for tonight. All right, our severe risk today is located way to our west. Ahead of a cold front we're going to be tracking as we head into the next 48 hours. For our area, though, yes, it's unstable, but we don't have all the ingredients to make it enough to produce thunderstorms. Could be an isolated shower in southern Kentucky, and that looks to be about it. All right, tomorrow, there is a marginal risk for southern Indiana, and then a slight risk north of our viewing area. This is the latest outlook for the second day period here, which will be, of course, on Friday. That'll be updated after this blog's taped, by the way. So make sure to watch Kevin this evening for an update on that. And then just a general chance as we head into Saturday. All right, so let's talk numbers first, and then we'll get into the storm chance here. 83 as of 10 o'clock this morning, on our way up to about 10 better than this today, right around 93 it looks like for the afternoon period. We've got a few high, thin cirrus clouds at the moment, but those are fading away. This afternoon, we should start to see a few more cumulus begin to bubble up, especially over Kentucky. Again, one or two of these may develop into a shower. The coverage is so small, it really isn't worth putting a rain chance in the way it looks at this point. So not too impressed with our rain chances today. The heat and the air quality, the big story. Let me show you what's going to happen, though, as we head into time here. Remember that front to the west where the severe weather is likely today. Kansas, northern areas of Missouri, and Iowa. All right, well, that front begins to move in as we head into the day on Friday. It'll be quiet tonight, and then Friday as the front begins to approach, this is where things get a little more interesting because there is going to be better moisture to work with, better forcing with the front moving in to get the air to go up, then you get some thunderstorms to react to that. Now, this is all mountain related, or orographic lift that's happening here in southern Kentucky, or southeast Kentucky and eastern Tennessee. There's still a decent amount of suppression in between the two that would prevent a lot from developing as far as thunderstorms for Friday. That's why the rain chance on Friday is still fairly small, but higher for Indiana. Now, if this trend holds true, high temperatures here in Louisville have a chance to cross over 90 again for tomorrow. It's a race against not only when the storms develop, because the blow-off clouds could stream over the area and keep us from rising very much, or if the storms are actually more to the east and develop over us or move into our area, that will cut us off the pass on the thermometer. So forecasting tomorrow's high temperature, a little bit of a challenge. We've been saying 90, but I wouldn't rule out like 92 or 93. I really wouldn't, based on this. Now, the front doesn't come slamming in here. It actually begins to tilt to the east-west fashion here and becomes washed out really over southern areas of Indiana. The biggest debate we're going to have is where does it wash itself out? Is it going to be right in this area near Cincinnati, or is it going to be a little more over 64 or more into southern Kentucky? I doubt southern Kentucky at this point. I think where it is a pretty likely spot for it to begin to wash out. The problem is that will produce boundaries that once the sun hits them Saturday afternoon, that'll be the area that storms will develop as well. So there's going to be a chance for some gusty storms Friday night. That's why there's that marginal risk for southern Indiana as the front approaches. Don't see it being a big deal at all. And then as we into Saturday afternoon, we'll just have to wait and see exactly how this front will lay itself out on us on Saturday to see where the focal point will be. I still think if you've got plans Saturday, if you're north of I-64, you're more in the risk for some storms. If you're south, I really think you're going to be rain-free. But we're going to knock the numbers down either way because of the front in the area. All right, so here's how the setup is going to be. We've talked a lot about this high pressure. There's another one coming our way as we head into early next week. It's going to have the typical ring of fire around it, which is your thunderstorm zone. Now, as it moves into our area on Tuesday, we're initially going to start off fairly warm and hot, I think Sunday, Monday, but as the ring of fire continues to develop just north of us, it looks like, into early on Tuesday, we're going to have to watch it because I do think the high is going to get suppressed enough by the middle portion of next week. We're going to get more of a west-northwest flow right over Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. And the details on this still have to be worked out. But because of this lining up here over our area, this is going to put us more in the storm zone than it would be the core of the high heat. The models are taking most of the 90s now to the south of us and only spotty 90s depending on where the storms are. You see where there's patches of yellow, that's cooler temperatures. It's basing that on the idea where you got clusters of thunderstorms riding around that ring of fire, and then it drops the numbers down. So we don't know yet where those will be on the actual ring itself, and that's why it's too hard to really get detail. But at least it looks a little bit better to get some rainfall in our area. We don't want the strong thunderstorm potential, but we need the rain because the new drought update just came in today. Hasn't changed a whole lot from last week, but it still keeps a good chunk of us in the abnormally dry category. That is not a drought officially, but it is the beginning stages of what would be a drought if the trend continues. We're down more than 3 inches, close to 4 inches now in rainfall here in Louisville since the month of May began. We had that wet April, but once we flip the calendar over, we've really been struggling, and that's why the ground's getting dry. And I know not everybody's getting the same amount of rain. I understand that. But there's a lot of us that are not getting the same amount, and that's the reason why we really could use some more rainfall. All right, that's how it stands right now, guys. Kevin will have an update beginning today at 5 o'clock, and I'll be back in early tomorrow morning on Wave 3 News Sunrise. So I will see you guys early tomorrow.